Matt Day here with Parsons, Graham and Day. I want to take a second to talk about a thing that happened a few weeks ago, and that was that the judge in the Alec Baldwin criminal trial dismissed the case, finding that the prosecutor and the prosecutor's office had engaged in misconduct. So, for those of you that don't know, Alec Baldwin was charged with a manslaughter criminal offense, saying he was criminally liable for a death that occurred on set of the show or movie Rust. Okay, so he's been facing that for a couple years now, and that came up for jury trial, and they started their jury trial very early on in the jury trial. The judge actually dismissed the jury to go home and took up the defense motion to dismiss. So the defense had been arguing that this sort of Good Samaritan had dropped off some of the ammunition that was at question, and that evidence was potentially exculpatory to Alec Baldwin, which is to say that evidence could have been used in his defense to demonstrate that he was not guilty. And so what occurs is this gentleman drops off this evidence. It includes some of the questioned ammunition, and the person at the DA's lab essentially takes that ammunition but files it under the wrong case. So the trial judge says that she's dismissing it because the defense had requested this evidence, and found that the prosecutor had intentionally engaged in misconduct. So it's important to note from this, there's several cases that deal with this from the U.S. Supreme Court, but the state, the prosecutor's offices, are required to turn over exculpatory evidence, and failure to do so can result in sanctions such as having the case dismissed. So fortunately for Alec Baldwin, due to this trial court following the law, that case was dismissed, and he is, free of criminal liability and able to move on a little bit, although my understanding is having some difficulty with that on a personal side. But again, it sounds like the judge followed the law, found that the prosecutor's office had intentionally hid this evidence from the defense, and therefore the case was dismissed. The purpose of this video is to be informative and not to provide legal advice. For legal advice, call a law firm and speak to an attorney about your particular case. None of the information provided in here is meant to establish the attorney-client relationship between Parsons, Graham and Day and anyone watching this video.